Well, I'm extremely excited about the 2019 Colorado Music Festival. Uh, it begins with a concept, really, about Beethoven and his influence on future composers. As we all know, 2020 is going to be a major anniversary of Beethoven, 250 years since his birth. And I thought, wouldn't it be interesting in 2019, rather than ignoring him completely, to actually demonstrate a little bit with various programs just how significant a voice Beethoven has been to future composers and future generations. So the first program is about Beethoven's path to Romanticism. Now, a lot of people would argue, well, Beethoven, was he a classical composer, or was he, in fact, maybe an early Romantic composer? You can argue that point if you like, but basically he did come out of the classical tradition of Haydn and Mozart, and living in Vienna for at least the majority of his life, those were his strongest influences. So this journey, I think, is a very important one because he had such imagination, and given the fact that he lost his hearing at a relatively early age, and certainly in the last 10 years of his life heard virtually nothing, it kind of allowed him to go in directions that perhaps he might otherwise not have been able to allow himself to do. So I think this idea is an interesting one: journey to Romanticism, journey to modernism even, with which we use the Grosser Fugue, the final movement of the Opus 130 string quartet, which he wrote just 3 years before he died. We use that to show just how advanced his compositional style could become. And then his journey to minimalism. Minimalism became popular sort of towards the end of the 20th century with composers, particularly Philip Glass, Steve Reich, John Adams initially was a minimalist. And we're doing a program here which shows that Beethoven, in his Sixth Symphony particularly, but in many of his other works, already was using minimalist techniques. So we show that development. And then the final thing, which is a little anachronistic in a way, is Jean-Marie Zeytouni will be conducting a program which talks a little bit about the relationship between Beethoven and the neoclassicists. Now, there are many neoclassicists in the 20th century. Probably the most famous of them is Stravinsky, but certainly there was neoclassicism even from Bartók and Prokofiev and many other composers. So those are the 4 journeys that we're going to try to demonstrate as the summer progresses.